Hi, my name is Stephanie Sheffield, and I'm here with the guys who comprise Images of Eden. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
So we're here today filming the video for your song Shield Me from your new upcoming album Soulrise. So can each of you guys tell me your names and where you're from?
Sure, I'm Steve Dorssom. I'm drummer, and I'm here from Phoenix, Arizona.
I'm Dean Harris, keyboards, and I'm out of just north of Baltimore, Maryland.
I'm Eric Mulvaine, and I'm from northern Michigan.
I'm Carlos Urquidi. I'm from Chihuahua, Mexico.
And Gordon Tittsworth, lead vocals, rhythm guitar, York, Pennsylvania.
So I have some questions for you guys. So, Gordon, how do you typically write your songs?
I never really specifically make time to do it. What normally happens, I have ideas, lyrics, titles, song flows that just kind of hit me. And then once I've got all the notes and I can kind of hear it in my head, usually that's what happens. I can sort of hear it after I have finished lyrics. Then I just kind of lay it out. I jump in the studio, and at that point in time, send it to the guys. You know, once done, the actual writing process is really just kind of strange. It just sort of hits me at the weirdest times. I know it's right when it feels right.
I understand you live in different areas of the country. How does that affect your recording?
Well, thank God for technology, for one.
Obviously.
So, again, yeah, everybody lives in a different state and out of the country, Carlos. You know, when we go to our writing process and we all put our parts on the song, we all have our own studios locally where we live, and we record our parts. And again, for technology, it's pretty simple. It might be a little longer of a process not being in the same room, but we can all record our parts, send them all in together, mix them together, and then kind of analyze it and see how the overall sound is coming along, and we can make adjustments, tweaks, changes, and do those things and kind of put them all together again. So, in essence, it can be, I guess it could seem like a pain to do it that way, but really it's pretty simple.
I would say I think the end result's actually better. You put that much more effort into it, and there's a lot more feedback, I think, you know, and more time to really tweak it. And so I think it just gives it that extra edge.
So there's a lot of back and forth, and sometimes it's right away, and sometimes it's a tweak this, tweak that, don't do this, do that. So it can take a little longer in that sense, not being in the same room, but at the same time, it's easier because it's more laid back, because I can take my time and focus more on getting it right.
And I think we have this connection that have allowed us to play the way we played to each other, and I think that connection is a spiritual connection.
Absolutely.
That is why it sounds like it sounds.
It really kind of seems unnaturally connected. I mean, extremely connected.
It's very much like being in the same room.
It is.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's very
it felt as if we were in the same room.
To get
Wow.
5 guys that have the same heart and the same mindset, that's what makes it work. And no matter where we live.
As bands goes, it's almost freakishly unnatural the way it came together and the way we came together and the way it's gelled and it's the perfection of it up to this point.
So Carlos, I understand you're from Chihuahua, Mexico.
Yes, I am.
Can you talk about your experience specifically in joining Images of Eden?
Yes, of course. Well, I met Gordon 11 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Through MySpace, and we were supposed to do a project back then. Eventually, we never did it, but we kept in touch throughout the years. And about a year ago, Gordon asked me if I wanted to play some leads on the record. I did this recording. He kept sending me tracks. I started recording. All of a sudden, he says, "Well, do you want in?" And I said, "Let me think for a minute." And I went, "Yeah, of course I want in." Right? And
My man.
for me, it's a real step up in my professional career as a musician. And I'm really grateful for this opportunity. I like it. These guys are funny as hell.
Yeah, we're awesome.
How do you think Images of Eden will be accepted in the scene where you're from?
Well, they will be received very, very good. The town where I'm from, Chihuahua, it's a very heavy metal town, and they like to see really good bands with really good material, and I think we could qualify. So I'm confident in that.
So Gordon, can you describe the sound of Soulrise musically?
Yeah, the best thing I can do is to try not to compare it to other bands because everybody hears things differently. Very high energy, very low end chunk, very meaty, very punchy. Everything's written on a 7-string where I take the low B string, drop it to A. Really low end, heavy, but you'll notice a blanket of sort of uplifting positivity at the same time. Lyrically, the lyrics are very inspirational. When you think of heavy music, you think of darkness. This is kind of the opposite, and if you think about the heaviness of the music with the inspirational lyrics, it sort of almost contradicts itself. So it lends to a very unique mix. When you hear it and you follow it, or you're just jamming along, if it evokes an emotion, we've won.
Yeah, every song has moved me in some way, shape, or form. Recording this, writing my drum parts. We're hoping that does the same thing to the audience. It helps somebody, it inspires somebody, it brings somebody out of a ditch and a dark place to a better place.
Because everybody's experienced what these songs are about. Everybody's experienced what these songs are about. There's somebody and something in the songs where somebody can pick something out and go, that was me or is me.
I don't think that, I mean, I've never worked on anything ever before, Images of Eden or otherwise, where I was feeling like transformed or moved by it. I mean, some of these songs, trying to deliver the vocals was incredibly challenging, not because of the performance being challenging, but because I was so like emotionally moved. I mean, I kept a box of Kleenexes in my vocal booth the whole time, and I went through a good amount of them. I mean, there's some songs
You got
I'm
endorsed
just,
by Kleenex, you know.
Get it together, man. All right, here we go. So,
Okay, so can each of you, starting with Steve, tell me your favorite song off the new record and why it's your favorite?
It's a tough one. It seems like every month I have a new song. Like I said earlier, every one of these songs has honestly moved me and has changed my life in some way, honestly. I know that, and I know that's hard for some people to believe that, but if I have to pick one right now, I can't go wrong on this answer. I'm going to say Godless. It's fun to play on drums, and it's got a great feel to it and a great drive, and also just a superior message that goes along with all of that.
I would have to go with And Then There Was One would be my favorite. I'm the keyboard player, starts off heavy piano. I put a lot of work into that.
Each one has a different inspirational message, but at the same time, the whole album is a story from the front to the back. For me, it is Shield Me, because it's the one song, it starts heavy, the message is overwhelming, and it makes me literally, it makes me want to jump off the stage while I'm playing and get in the pit, quite honestly. It just, and spread the love, I mean, because it's crazy.
For me, it would be Shield Me also, because
6 solos.
Yeah, there are lots of guitar. No, but when I was recording that song, I think that was the song that went more, had more fluidity to it, and the message is uplifting, heavy guitars, good message, an overall good song. It's not too long, so it can be played on the radio. So yeah, that's the whole deal. That's the whole package. I like it. I love it.
If I had to pick one, there is a song, it's called And Then There Was One. And it's I had several unnatural, like lifelong childhood fears that were kind of haunting me my whole life. Could never get rid of them no matter how hard I tried. And when it came to actually writing some of these songs, there's no other way to really put this other than they were extinguished. There were 3 songs that I wrote, All Is Now Forgiven, Twice Upon a Time, and Then There Was One. And it was like right in the middle of it. There's no other way to put it other than I had an experience where I just totally felt it's like this message, and from above is what I'm going to call it. And it said, I am taking this fear away from you, and it will never return. And it was like this, I just felt this weight drop to the point where I kind of almost, my whole body went limp, and I just started bawling. And the song And Then There Was One was about this unnatural childhood fear of being sort of alone at the end of life, either being sort of physically unable, mentally unable, alone by yourself, homeless, sick, haunted, whatever the case may be, and kind of that fear that, I don't want this to happen. I don't know why this is happening. In the middle of that song, it was like pulled right out. And I had it for 40 years. And it was gone on that day. And it never returned. So that's an insanely long-winded answer to my favorite song.
It's pretty incredible, though. what do you want your listeners or people who get the album to get out of your music?
I'll start with this one, but you know, when people listen to these songs, I really hope it moves them like it moved us. Some of these songs, like I said, they were life changers for me. I have to admit. I mean, just writing my parts, tracking them, playing them, rehearsing them, and I got so tied into that. You know, I just hope that when we do play these, that people can see more beyond just the performance and the metal music of it all. There's such a great message to each one of these songs, and if you really pay attention and follow along, it could be very helpful to someone. It could help heal someone. Like I said, bring you out of a dark place into a better place, you know. And I want people to be moved by us, and I want to inspire to help.
It's funny because I look at music is so much different than other things. Like it's you know, so many aspects of our life speak to the intellectual. They might speak to a little bit of the emotional, but music is one of those things that it speaks past the intellectual. It speaks into the soul. Music is the only thing that is universal. It breaks down all barriers. I don't care where you're from, what language you speak, what you believe in. It can heal you if it's a good message. It can haunt you if it's a dark message. So this message is very unusual compared to anything I've ever done before. And it's hard to actually say that and have people go, yeah, I get it, whatever, man, all music does that. This is different for us. This is different from anything any of us have ever done. And it's very strange that that's the case. I mean, we've been doing this for a while. In the past, from various albums, Rebuilding the Ruins and even Sunlight of the Spirit, our previous albums, I've had fans kind of reach out and say, you know, I just want to thank you for this particular song or this album got me through. One fan said, I listening to this album while I was getting cancer treatments. It helped me through, it carried me through cancer. And another fan said, you know, what you told me or what I got from your first two albums, I didn't like myself very much. Your album said, I am loved unconditionally, regardless of what I think of myself. And one fan said, my mom was in a horrible car accident. She had 40 days to live, and I was listening to your album on the way to the hospital, and it helped me through that. She ended up passing, but you know, the song On Elevated Ground off of Rebuilding the Ruins helped me through this darkest time. I'm crying like a girl when he's saying this. You have no idea, everything that we do is worthwhile just by hearing that. So if somebody comes up to us and say, man, you know, I just want to thank you, it helped me through something rough, we've won.
The first time I heard them or read them, there were little bits and pieces here where I'm like, wow, that was me 20 years ago, literally. I mean, it was written about me 20 years ago. Not literally, because we didn't know each other, but it could have been, but it speaks to me that way. And many other phrases and parts of songs were that way. And what I got from it was, you know what, the world sucks. People suck, governments suck, but you know what? It doesn't have to. There are positive, and there's bright light on the other side. There's bright light, and it overcomes darkness every single time, every time. So it doesn't have to be that way. And if they get an inspirational message from it, a positive message from it, and it helps them, saves them, that's what it's for.
Y quiero que la gente también de México y de América Latina entienda que nosotros somos una banda universal, que les queremos llevar un buen show, que les queremos llevar esperanza, les queremos llevar amor donde no tienen estas cosas, que se puedan inspirar un poco de lo que hemos estado haciendo con esta banda. Y vamos a estar ahí, vamos a ir a todos a México, América Latina, ahí vamos a estar.
It sounded beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll vouch for that. What made you guys pick Shield Me for your music video?
You want to take this?
Yeah, well, I have to say, this particular song had such a great storyline and message behind it for a music video. So it was a heavier song, yeah, so we wanted to show people our heavier side, for sure, doing this video, but yet we wanted to put out a good message and a good storyline to go along with it. So that was one of the reasons why we picked this. A secondary reason, which Gordon will go a little deeper on, is somebody didn't want this song coming out. Okay, I'll just leave it at that. Somebody didn't want this song coming out, and we went through nothing but issues trying to get this thing written properly, recorded, tracked, everything we did, we had a little glitch or weird problems that happened along the way, and it just kind of fueled the fire that this is the song we need to do.
Yeah, there was a comedy of unnatural roadblocks, things that just shouldn't have happened. There was no explanation to them other than equipment failure, things not working right, obstacles thrown in. When I was actually tracking, I think, guitar and vocals for this, for no reason, on this song, both of my sessions, I had this song session completely crash and get completely corrupt. I had to rebuild it from scratch with clean files. Went a little bit further, another one. It just crashed and got corrupted. It shouldn't have. I had clean files. There was no reason for it. When Steve was recording drums, this song and only this song crashed his system. So we had 3 system crashes just during this song, and it was a real bit of a pain to try to get this thing. I had to redo vocal lines, and I had to try to get corrupt files back, and it was a mess. So once we sent that off, and we actually shot the B-roll a couple of months ago, right when we were about to finish up, Chris Sheffield, our director of photography, was like, I kind of heard him under his breath, said, "Man, I'll be so glad when this shoot is over. Man, it's been nothing but problems." And I was like, hold on a second, what are you saying here? And he said, oh yeah, everything that could have gone wrong under the shoot has. We had,
Production lights blow up on us while we're
catch
filming,
fire.
catching fire.
Cameras
Our-
just failing
yeah,
for no
our
reason.
cinema
We couldn't
cameras
figure
just
what
going
was
out.
happening.
Right.
And you know, there were probably a couple other issues.
Issue with the was it Police Force?
Oh, yeah,
You
Yeah.
can elaborate on
yeah,
that more?
right in the middle of filming, there was a bust. Cop takes an AR-15, breaks out the guy's window. Get out of the car! They drag him out.
It's all right in front of us,
Just,
you know.
just like, you know,
it's like a movie.
50 feet away, we got our camera guys, Dan and Ed, turning. It's
Yeah.
like everything that could have gone wrong did. So we're like, this is the one. We
Yeah.
gotta use this.
So it's pretty
There's no other reason
self-explanatory.
for that.
Yep.
So talking about this music video, can you kind of explain what goes into making a production like this?
Yeah, well, as you know, I'm the director here for the music video, and what a big job that is, being a performer and a director and all that. But it's quite a big process. The pre-production is the most important part of any shoot, as anybody in production knows. A lot of moving parts, a lot of details that go on. So we start with the treatment, the storyline. And then from there, once we have that nailed down, then we cast it. We find the right cast members to portray these parts, act out these scenes, make them real. So storyline, it's the casting and getting the great actors to do the storyline. Then it's locations. Then you got to go find all the locations to make the setting right. And then there's city permits and police to deal with and officials and then you got your crew with all your camera gear and people coming in from different states and it's a lot to coordinate, but the pre-production, like I said, is the most important part to any shoot. We had about 95 days of pre-production for this 3-day shoot that we're doing. So you try to get all the pieces put together and get to the starting line, and then you just got to let it roll, let it flow, deal with problems as you come upon them, and just get over it. But I'm very happy how the production's been going so far, and you know, it comes down to all the planning and the great crew that we have and helping us put this on. So I'm really excited.
Planning and adaptability.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so Gordon, what are your plans regarding live shows?
The great part here is we all have the ability, since we all tracked our parts on our own, we'll have the set list already ready to go. We will all know exactly what we need to do. We're going to perfect our parts so that when the time's ready to pull the trigger and hit the road, we all probably get together, most likely out here. We'll get out here, we'll take the 5 incredibly, perfectly carved puzzle pieces, put them together, and you would never know the difference because these guys are absolute pros at what they do. So we'll just make sure we've got everything tight and ready to go, and then we hit the road. What do we want to do? I could say the cliche stuff. Europe, South America, US, wherever. I'm kind of letting this whole thing roll one step at a time, and we'll see where the best opportunity comes. That best opportunity is the one that we're going to pursue first. So.
What can your fans expect at an Images of Eden concert?
Our fans can expect a lot of energy, 5 guys pouring their hearts out on stage to give the fans a message. Just a tight, exciting show.
We're up here. We give it 100%. We have fun doing this, and we want that the audience to know that, to understand that. You know, we're having fun, they're having fun.
Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, we want each individual person to leave feeling enlightened, accepting a message that's been given to them, and doing something with it, feeling good about it, and overcoming what it otherwise is a dark world. So, and hopefully leave with a sore neck too, and like where it said, loud ringing ears.
Good show, good message, fun.
Sore from the mosh pit, ears ringing, and a sore throat from screaming all night. Rough day at work tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thanks.